I'd like to welcome Zooming in on the radio. We have Bill Metcalfe, who is here. We're going to talk about veterans and this coalition that Bill, you're part of. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
I appreciate this, and we were just talking off the air. It's nice to be able to do the Zoom, just to kind of save you the drive.
Yes, that's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So this coalition that you're part of, how do you explain it?
Well, the coalition is a group of people basically coming together to talk about veteran needs. The state of New Hampshire, along with the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and Partnership for Public Health, basically asked the local community mental health centers to develop these coalitions to assess veterans' needs in their local communities.
Okay.
Our coalition is called Granite Hope Veterans Coalition, and it covers Sullivan County and Lower Grafton County.
And how did you get involved in this?
We got involved through a grant.
Okay.
We applied for a grant, so we got a little bit of money to help with the grant. The coalition and West Central is the host for the coalition, but the coalition really exists of its own entity. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It does, absolutely. And that was something that you and I talked about off the air, too, that West Central is a part of this, but is kind of like the overseeing entity that does the finances. But you guys are like a subsidiary working on this project, on this coalition for veterans' health.
Exactly. And I'm actually a licensed social worker.
Oh.
I'm also an Army veteran. And we have many veterans on the coalition, which we need to have because, we're working for them. The coalition consists of many members. We have veterans, we have professionals, folks from the White River Junction VA, Partnership for Public Health, Manchester VA Vet Center, and folks from Dartmouth Health as well. And we meet once a month, the third Wednesday of every month. And if anybody's interested in attending, they can. They just have to let me know through vetservices@wcbh.org. They just send me an email, and if they're interested, I can send them the link.
Now, when we're talking veterans, I think oftentimes a lot of people, but maybe it's just myself, are thinking the older veterans, we've lost most of our World War II veterans, unfortunately, but the Korean War, the Vietnam veterans. But this goes all the way to the men and women that leave the service yesterday and are entering civilian life today.
Absolutely. And, the whole goal of the coalition as well, not only to offer support and assess for their needs, is really around suicide prevention and intervention. And I think, unfortunately, like you're saying, and we are trying to tap into the younger veterans because there's a lot of them. We're talking about Iraq War, we're talking about Afghanistan. But veterans, unfortunately, tend not to seek help because there's a lot of pride that goes along with being a veteran. Mm-hmm. And there's a sense that, they're weak if they have to reach out for help. And, we want to reduce and eliminate veteran suicide because it's a problem.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering. Do you have the numbers?
I have a statistic from the 2023 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report. Mm-hmm. And just from that report alone, and I think this is pretty much the latest data, is in 2021 in particular, 6,392 veterans died by suicide, and that was actually an increase of 114 suicides from 2020.
Wow!
So it's a real issue, and the fact is, one suicide is too many.
Oh yes.
And we just want veterans to know we're here. They're not alone. We're also, like I said, we offer training opportunities, and we're doing one in March. The one we're doing in March is called ASIST, and it stands for Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. And it's really, they kind of call it suicide first aid because it teaches participants to recognize when someone may be having thoughts of suicide and kind of work with them to create a plan.
Oh, okay.
or advise them to go to a hospital if need be, if they're feeling that bad. But the main thing is to ask, right?
Right.
If we don't ask, we're not going to know.
Now, how do you, with your coalition, because I know that you have a lot of volunteers that are involved, how do you apply the volunteers and the group that you have and get out and find the veterans that are in need of help? Are you asking the veterans to reach out, or is it like networking?
It's a lot of networking.
Okay.
Again, we have this vet services at wcbh.org email that we try to get out there. We've had a few outreaches. As a matter of fact, we did one at Runnings in Claremont, and we handed out a lot of information about the coalition and about what we're doing. We're going to be at the Claremont Opera House in April. Bobby Henlin, I don't know if you've heard of him, but
No.
he's a Army veteran who, unfortunately, when he was in Iraq, his vehicle blew up and he was the only survivor. And he was 40% of his body was burned.
Ooh.
So again, this really hits home to a lot of people. And again, we want to make sure the veterans know they're not alone. We're going to get out there. We want to offer resources, trainings. We want to reduce social isolation. And we want to teach people how to ask veterans if they're feeling suicidal. And it's important to really ask the hard question. Do you feel like killing yourself? And it's a tough topic, but
Yeah.
it's important to really say those words, because if you just say, do you feel like hurting yourself, that could mean something else. So we really try to use, unfortunately, the pretty blunt language and, say, do you feel like killing yourself?
No, I mean, it's definitely, it rattles you when you hear that. You hear it spoken just like that.
Right.
If you could talk to a veteran right now that's listening, that's teetering, what do you say? So how do you have that conversation?
I would tell them that, first I'd evaluate them. See, I'm a social worker, so I'd probably get a little more clinical than most people.
Sure.
So it's important, one, there's a 988 hotline that they can call.
988?
988.
Okay.
It's just like 911, but 988 is for mental health.
Okay.
And for people that are feeling suicidal. But if I was talking to the veteran, I'd try to get a sense of what's happening. If I could develop a safety plan, meaning, do they have people in their life that they could talk to? Do they have things that they could do to kind of take their mind off what they're going through? But if in the end they still didn't feel safe, I would advise them to go to a hospital and kind of get a formal evaluation. Because, again, one suicide is too many. We don't want anybody to be in pain. And again, I know it's hard for veterans. The transition from going from being in the service to civilian life is very difficult. It's the culture in the military is very structured. It's very, you don't ask why in the military, you just do. It's very disciplined. Basically, you have less autonomy, honestly. And then you come out in the civilian world, and it's kind of like, what do I do now?
Right.
So it's a very difficult transition.
Oh, I can see that. So how does somebody reach out to you guys for help? What's the best way?
I would probably encourage most people to use a 988 because that's a bit more immediate.
Okay.
So that would be the first step. But if it was like a family member that was concerned about somebody, or they could, again, email. I actually get the emails for the vet services at wcbh.org.
Okay.
And then I would just go from there. If the individual was able to provide me with their name, kind of phone number, I could reach out to them and advise them on the next steps.
Now, if somebody reaches out to West Central, will that message get to you guys? So if they call the West Central phone number?
Absolutely, and that's appropriate as well to call West Central.
Okay. And what's the name of the coalition again for those that might have missed it?
The name of the coalition is Granite Hope Veterans Coalition.
Okay.
We also have a web page on our website. It's www.wcbh.org, and it kind of speaks to the mission statement and kind of the background of the coalition as well.
Excellent. Well, Bill, I think this is it's an important topic. It's not. I almost said great topic. It's not a great topic. It's an important topic to get on, and it's real. And it's unfortunate that this is a reality for some veterans that leave the service after serving and representing our country, and in war or not in war. And that's probably a distinction too, that you don't necessarily have to be at war to be suicidal.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Steve, because you're right. I mean, if you go to combat, that's one thing, right? You see some horrendous things, and you're going to probably have some PTSD. You're going to have some, but it's also very challenging when you're assigned overseas. You see a lot of things when you go overseas as well, and it's a hardship. It's very difficult on your family. It's difficult on you. Typically, the duties are much tougher. So yeah, we're not talking about just combat veterans. We're talking about all veterans.
Excellent. Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to get on about this?
Yeah, I just want to mention that ASIST training that we're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, our primary goal is to prevent and end suicide for veterans. That ASIST training is on March 28th and 29th. It's a 2-day training.
Okay.
It runs from 8:30 to 3:30. It's free of charge. We're going to provide lunch, and it's at the Claremont Savings Bank in Claremont, New Hampshire.
Okay. Excellent.
And again, if someone wants to attend, all they need to do is send me an email through that vetservices@wcbh.org. I will get the message. I'll respond and let them know we're good to go.
Great. Well, Bill, I think this is again an important topic, and this is maybe a conversation starter within families as well. And just if you've got a veteran in your life, have that conversation. Be like, hey, you okay? And just start with that.
Absolutely. It starts that easily. And from there, you can determine if somebody's really struggling. And, and it speaks to anyone who's feeling suicidal, right?
Yes.
Just that question of, are you okay? What's going on?
You bet.
So.
Well, Bill, again, this is, I know you guys have the grant and everything, so hopefully this is just the beginning of some important work that you guys do within our community, not just for Sullivan County, but also Lower Grafton County.
Absolutely. We're pounding the pavement, getting the word out there, and developing outreach activities with resources, and just continue to make it bigger.
And as you have events, please feel free. You have my email address to send along to me.
I appreciate that, Steve, very much.
Oh, you bet.